welcome to Horror Review Sunday. Let's talk about the only movie Stephen King ever directed, and that is Maximum Overdrive. And there's a reason why he never directed again. This movie is that reason. Even he does not like this movie, and Emilio Estevez does not like this movie. A lot of people in this movie don't like this movie after watching it. And it's because it's boring. For a concept like this and the story that they're going for here, it should be a lot more fun than it actually is. Like, I'm sure as I'm talking about it, if you haven't seen this movie, as I talk about it, you might think, well, it sounds like it's fun. It's not. It's really not. But yeah, let's talk about it. Plot synopsis. There's a comet that goes over the Earth for a week, and during that week, all the machines on Earth are attacking the humans. It's technology fighting back, kind of like Terminator. Technology is evil. So yeah, we got Emilio Estevez. He's working at this truck stop, and then all these different people all gather at the truck stop to hide from the evil trucks that are circling the place like vultures. And this movie ended up getting remade. I haven't seen the remake. It was made in like the late 90s. It's called like Trucks, and that one has an even worse score than this movie. So I I have zero interest to check that out. If it's worse than this, then yeah, this was already a chore to get through. Can't imagine watching Trucks, so I'm not going to review that movie anytime soon. So yeah, there's your plot synopsis, and let's get into the things I like about this movie. I like the concept on paper. I like the idea. I think there's a lot of room to have fun with that concept, but this movie just doesn't live up to its potential. You got Stephen King writing this movie and directing it, so that's interesting, but that's really the biggest problem with the movie, is that he is the one directing this movie, and he was doing all kinds of coke behind the scenes, and you got AC/DC doing the score here, so that was very different for a horror movie to just have like this rock band doing the soundtrack, and there's all kinds of cool AC/DC songs in here. And I grew up with AC/DC because my dad's a 80s hair metal rock and roll guy, so I always listened to that shit growing up. So I like the soundtrack. I don't like the like psycho riff though, when it goes like I can't make the sound, but if you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. When it makes that sound, it sounds awful, so jarring. I like the Goblin truck. It's iconic. It's like on the poster and everything. It's Green Goblin from Spider-Man. I think there's even a Spider-Man joke in here. Can't remember. I've watched like 5 movies since this. I got a bunch of reviews to do right now in the row. So yeah, I don't remember everything that was said in the movie, but I think there was a Spider-Man joke. I don't know. That must have been a different movie. But I like all the scenes with Emilio Estevez like yelling at the trucks and like arguing with them, like, "What do you want?" I thought all that stuff was kind of funny. I like that this movie kills not only dogs but children. So we got both in this movie. And so yeah, and it's got some good action sequences. There's lots of explosions and cars just breaking apart. They destroy a lot of cars in this movie. That whole like drawbridge scene was kind of cool at the beginning. So I like really all that in the opening. I think the first act is the best. All that stuff when things are just going crazy, the pop machine, the steamroller, all that stuff. I was like, all right, this is good. But then the whole movie gets stuck in one boring setting with all these boring characters, some of them annoying, and it just went downhill pretty quickly after that. So I liked that the eyes glow red too. I thought that was kind of funny. And so yeah, no highway to hell, really? Come on. You got AC/DC, you got trucks, evil trucks going down the highway to the truck stop, and you don't play highway to hell. I don't even think they play shoot the thrill, and there's a scene where M60 is just going off shooting everybody somehow, even though that's not a fucking machine. Let's get into it. Negatives. This movie breaks its own rules multiple times. This movie doesn't make sense at all. Like, what exactly can be possessed by this comet? And what exactly is causing all this? Is it the comet or is it the UFO that the last minute talks about? Like, it's like there's a comet, but no, it's actually a UFO that just got shot down by the Russians. It's like, what? I have no idea what's going on, but they say it's electrical, but then it's like gas powered shit's going off, battery operated shit's going off, water sprinklers are going off. It's like, what? So anything? Just anything. And like guns are going off, but then there's like a gun storage beneath this truck stop for some reason, just a big riding convenience, and none of those guns are going off. You got characters that are driving around for miles and their car is perfectly fine, but all these trucks are possessed. How? Makes no sense. And why the trucks don't just plow through this truck stop immediately and destroy them right away beats me. They finally do it towards the end when they're already out of there. Like, this movie would be over so quickly. These people would be dead so fast. All it would take is all those trucks to just plow through that stupid building and they'd all be dead. There's too many characters in this movie. Way too many. There is like 3 or 4 characters in this movie that you don't even know their name. I mean, I'm terrible with names, but I don't even think these people have names. That's how little they talk. There is people who you're like, oh yeah, that person exists. Like the guy who drives the fucking goblin truck, like he has what, 2 lines? Why are there so many people? And then a lot of them don't even die. There's so many survivors at the end. This movie could have been so much more fun if they had a higher body count and killed them in funny, creative ways. This movie is supposed to be scary. It was advertised as that. Watch the trailer. You got Stephen King in the trailer with Halloween 3 music, which I like. It's a badass soundtrack. I love the score to Halloween 3. But Stephen King is in the trailer like, this is my movie. I'm doing it right. And I'm going to scare the shit out of you with flying pop cans. Like, this is supposed to be scary. It fails completely to be scary. The characters suck. The dialogue is not good. I mean, this movie is like written like a novel. It's not written like a movie. Like the dialogue is not interesting. The characters are not interesting. Um, there's no one I like in this movie. And then you got the girl from The Simpsons, who I think plays like Lisa. I've never seen a single episode of The Simpsons, but I know that's who she is because I looked into it, and her voice is annoying and like, oh, it's like nails on a chalkboard. That's like, I hate her nagging voice, and like that's who she's supposed to be. I get it. So she's doing a good job. She's doing what she's supposed to, annoy you. But I can't stand it. She's just constantly, Curtis, Curtis. And it's like, please, please kill her. But no, she lives. And the love interest is just forced. Like this chick just meets Emilio. They say maybe 1 line to each other, and then boom, they're fucking in like the same night. Like, yeah, like it's doomsday. Like shit's falling out of the skies. Like airplanes are falling out of the sky. You see like one plane fall out of the sky at one point. There should have been a lot more of that. There should have been a lot of chaos and destruction in this movie if it had a bigger budget. And the budget is a decent size budget in this. I think it had like 9-10 million. I mean, that's pretty good for the late 80s, mid 80s really. But yeah, like there's all this shit going on. Let's have sex. And we don't even really know each other. You're just a hitchhiker going to Florida, and I'm a criminal on parole here, working at a truck stop. And like they have no connection to each other. They're just having sex. It feels so forced. Nothing is interesting in this movie. It drags so much in the middle. It just takes so long for all these characters to finally get together. Like the kid, like I said, there's too many characters. There's too many different things going on, and they finally all get together, and it just is so miserable. The acting is poor. I feel, and it's not like all these people are bad actors. Like they're good in other movies, but in this one, it seems like they're not even trying. Like Emilio, and I don't like the setting. I don't like being stuck here with these people in this boring ass truck stop. It's just, like I said, it drags because of the setting and because of these people. I just want them to get the hell out of there. I want to see what's going on outside the truck stop in the city. We see like the aftermath of some shit when the kid's riding the bike down the street, which I like that scene. Um, but yeah, that's all I really got to say. Is that this movie fails to be entertaining. It fails to be scary. It fails to be funny even. It's silly, yeah, but it doesn't really try to go for it. And, bad characters, bad dialogue, acting is weak. And so I gotta say, when it comes to Maximum Overdrive, I can see some people liking this for, charm, and it's so bad that it's kind of good. But to me, it was just bad. I did not enjoy myself watching this. It is wasted time. So, this movie opens up in 1987, so a year after this movie was released, on June 19th, which is the day I'm recording this. I did not do that on purpose. So, I thought that was really cool when I started it. It's like June 19th. What are the odds? And so, we got Stephen King's cameo here. He does a cameo in a lot of his movies, not all of them. And I like, he's like, the ATM machine just called me an asshole. And then we see like the AC/DC van, and Stephen King wanted them to actually be in the movie, but they said, no, we're not actors. We're not going to be in your movie. But I'm thinking that's supposed to be like their van, and they're in the back, I guess, and then they get killed. And then what was with the guy in the arcade room? Like, he gets electrocuted by the arcade game somehow, but for some reason he just randomly says, yo mama. I don't get the joke. And then, so we got this asshole boss who calls everybody Bubba, and he's like, I want you to work 9 hours, but clock in for 8, and I can do whatever the fuck I want because you're on parole. And so this guy's an asshole. And also we got the pop machines going off, and which is just so silly. I mean, these really, like, this is a machine. This counts, like, the comet can, like, it can shoot all these cans out like 60 miles an hour, just like shooting out like cannonballs, and it actually like puts this big old whelp on the guy's head. And we actually see like 2 kids out in the field dead. We don't see them get hit, but they're out there, they're dead. So 2 more kids got killed right before this other kid gets steamrolled, crushed, and then the MPAA cut this scene down some. We were supposed to see blood shoot out his head. That would have been awesome. Somebody says Hell's Bells in the movie, which is kind of, wink, because AC/DC is the composer here, and they even play Hell's Bells later on. And then, so their cars are fine. I don't get it. Like, how are their cars fine, but everybody else's are just going haywire? The trucks, and then the ice cream truck. But the newlywed couple can just drive around for miles, and they're perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with their car. And then, like, even the lawnmower is, it's a gas-powered thing. It's not electrical. I mean, how is that going off? The electric knife that went off, when it breaks on the ground, you can see a battery inside, so it's not even electric. And then a fucking hammock was swinging back and forth on its own, as if to say it's possessed by the comet that's being controlled. How is a hammock electrical or a machine at all? How are the water sprinklers going off? Like, it's implying that it's the comet. It's not just a coincidence. Like, there's something wrong with the water sprinklers. And, like, the rules, man, the rules. Ugh. And so then, yeah, we see all these dead bodies. There's a dog on the ground with a toy, like, cop car jammed down its throat, which I thought was hilarious. And why even save this fucking Bible selling piece of shit? Like, the way he's touching this girl, and then why is she standing there, like, taking his, like, verbal abuse? He's just going off and off, and she's just standing there listening to all of it. Like, I would just leave. Just go in the store. Why are you listening to his bullshit? And then Emilio saves him, but he's, like, running off. And, like, why are you running that way? Why not run back into the store? How does he die? Like, he gets hit by the truck barely, and then he goes down like a ditch, and then he's screaming later on, and then I guess he bleeds out. I don't understand how he's dead. I did like when he was like, "Get out of my way, bitch!" He's like trying to sell them like Bibles and stuff, and then he sees like his car get like, hit by one of the trucks outside, and he just quickly just becomes all vulgar. He's like, "Get the fuck out of my way, bitch!" Supposed to be like a man of God. And then there's a truck that explodes. How? Like, it barely goes over a hill. Like, it just goes down a small decline, just goes over, and then it stops, and then I'm not sure what the fuck calls that. And I already talked about earlier, like, why don't these trucks just demolish the building? Why don't they just crash through and kill them? Doesn't make sense. And then why didn't they take out their electricity quicker so that they couldn't like cook food? And like it took a while for finally the power to go down. Like that should have been down instantly. And so then we find out that this guy, the owner of this truck stop, has more guns than John Rambo, and he has like all these M60s, all these M72 Law rockets, which actually it's just like the one. Like he keeps shooting like the same one. I think it would be realistic if he shot one, threw it away, grabbed a new one because that's how those things operate. But he keeps shooting the one Law rocket and then like puts a new rocket inside. It's like that's not how that works. You ever play Call of Duty? You shoot one and then your character throws it away because it's useless. And but then like this one chick, we made you. She keeps saying it like she loses it, and then she loses it again. The second time she loses it, and she's saying the same thing. We made you, like singing the AC/DC song that came out after this movie. She picks up the Law rocket, which already got shot, so it's empty. She picks it up and gets shot by the M60 that's somehow being controlled, even though it's not a machine. It's a machine gun. Yeah, technically, in the description of the gun, it's called a machine gun, but it's not technically a machine. It's not operated like a machine. It should not be possessed by the comet. It shouldn't. But she gets shot by the machine gun, and then she falls down and shoots that Law rocket at another truck. How is there two rockets in that thing? It already got shot. No one reloaded it. And like I said, they only shoot one. How is this thing shooting twice? So stupid. Another thing that's stupid is when the M60 is going off. A, it's shooting way more ammunition than it really has. But B, everybody is standing up in that fucking, like a few of them, the main characters get down smart, but three other jackasses are like, they all get shot. It's like, well, no shit. You just stood there and you took it like a moron. Like you hear gunfire and then you're just going to stand up for an additional 10 seconds. Like you don't think you're going to get fucking shot. Who you think you are? Like Samuel Jackson in Pulp Fiction? They're just going to go all the way around you. Like, oh my gosh, it's an act of God. I can't be shot. So freaking stupid. So dumb. And then, so yeah, the waitress loses it and they're having sex like I already talked about. That was just crazy. And then, yeah, she gets killed. And then they go through the sewers to escape. And, but oh my gosh, before all that, I'm just skipping through all my notes. I'm not even really looking down that often. I'm just on a rant here, but I skipped one silly ass scene, and that's when they actually like refuel all the cars. How much fuel do they have? I mean, they make it look like it's like a montage. You got like the Hell's Bells playing, and they're like acting, they're so exhausted, and they got like blisters on their hands from pumping gas. For how long? A few hours? It's that exhausting? Dude, it's as simple as putting it in, clicking, and then like you have like that thing that holds it in place. Did that not exist back then? Like, how is it so exhausting to pump gas for I don't care how many hours? Maybe the hunger eventually, depending on how long they're doing this, would make you weak and exhausted. But they just act like it's such a chore. They're like taking shifts and they're refueling all these fucking trucks. And the trucks are speaking in Morse code, so I guess the aliens know Morse code. And then when they get to that drive-in, they're next to like a fucking McDonald's or whatever, and the drive-through speaker is like, humans are here, humans are here. So now they know English, they know Morse code. and and then the one girl, she's like, I hope they choke on it, talking about the fuel. Reminded me of like Day of the Dead, like, choke on it. How are they going to choke on the fuel that you're pumping into the gas tank? That's so stupid. um, yeah, I'm having a much better time talking about this movie than watching it. This is much more fun. So yeah, I mean, there's nothing else to talk about really. I mean, they get to the fucking boat and they think that the boat is their savior. That's gonna save their lives. A boat. If a lawnmower can attack you, this boat can attack you. If the trucks can be controlled, the fucking boat can be controlled. It's not like a canoe, but I mean, hey, a hammock was somehow be in control. The canoe would be controllable too, but they get on like a big boat. So I'm sure that the evil whatever could control the boat and sink their asses immediately. But they get to an island, supposedly, and they live happily ever after, except for the one guy who's actually a decently known actor. He was like in The Patriot, Eight-Legged Freaks, a movie from my childhood. He's in here. I recognize that guy. He has like no dialogue, and he's stealing like jewelry off a dead body. Like, really, you got time for this? Just get on the boat, you thief. And I like that woman that he's stealing the jewelry from, her death was her car window going up and like choking her. So that was pretty funny. But yeah, they just simply blow up the goblin truck like every other truck. So that was just lame, very quick. So yeah, and we get this text that's like, oh, the Russians shot this UFO that also contained like laser cannons. I didn't write it down, but it says something about like Russian satellite destroyed a UFO. So the comet's gone now because of that, and or whatever. I don't know. It was just so stupid. Like, what? This movie is insane. But yeah, that's the end of the movie. I got nothing else to say here. I feel like I said everything I need to. Yeah, I'm looking at my notes. I feel like I said everything. So yeah, that's my thoughts on Maximum Overdrive. Not a fan of it. Are you a fan of it because you think it's so bad it's good? Let me know in the comments below all your thoughts on it. And as always, if you like what you've seen here, you can hit this like button and become a subscriber today just by clicking on my cartoon face in about 5 seconds. And until next time, Auf Wiedersehen.